Before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsor, SIA Affiliates. SIA Affiliates brings the best of casino, sports, and poker products to affiliates across the globe. In business since 1997 and powered by Playtech technology, SIA Affiliates is known for their phenomenal retention and player values. With extensive mobile offerings for casino, sportsbook, and racebook, plus live sports betting and casino dealers, visit the SIA Affiliates listing in the CAP directory and join today for an exclusive deal of $250 bonus for 5 approved players for your first 60 days. Thank you, SIA Affiliates, for making this video interview possible.
Hey everyone, it's Warren Jolly with CasinoAffiliatePrograms.com, and I want to welcome you to today's interview with Eric Sprague, co-founder of Flop Turn River, a leading US-based poker strategy forum that offers reviews, bonus codes, tools, videos, and an extensive poker community. In today's interview, Eric will share his thoughts about the challenges of working in the current U.S. environment and where he sees the U.S. industry going, as well as tell us a little bit more about FTR's strategy going into the future. Eric, it's good to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Warren.
So let's start out by telling our audience a little bit about yourself personally and also the history of Flop Turn River, as well as how you met your partner Tyson, and a little bit more just about the overall business.
Hi, everyone. My name's Eric Sprague. I grew up in Pasadena, California. I went to UCLA, and that's where I met Tyson before graduating in 1992. My degree was in economics, so that put me into accounting type of jobs after graduation. I became a financial analyst, and what got me more towards the web and programming was when I automated the monthly financial statements with Excel VBA macros. After that, I got really interested in programming, so that got me into the IT world. And I started building my own personal little websites, just kind of tinkering around with them after work at home. And as I was doing that, I was working with Tyson at a skincare company, and I had a little blackjack site. It had a little party poker banner on it. And I saw that, doing the ads for these online poker rooms could bring in revenue. And at that time, Tyson was playing a lot of online poker. And he said, hey, let's make a separate site that's just for poker, separate from everything else. And that was in 2003. So he found the domain name Flop Turn River, which is nice and catchy because it's, the streets in Texas Hold'em. So we put up a little site, and at that time, like I said, he was playing all the time. So we used what he was learning as content for the website because he was doing really well, and he explained it well such that beginners could, look at his overall strategy and tactics, and they could be successful also. So we installed a little forum, and that's pretty much the beginning of FTR. That's how it started.
So the site started as a forum in 2003, basically.
Yeah, I remember doing the forums. That was one of the first things we did. But not long after that, we started putting together reviews and it may have been at the same exact time at the forums, I don't remember, but we put up reviews of the poker rooms that we liked at that time. Mm-hmm. Back then it was a different landscape. Like, you could play party poker in the US, you could play Paradise, so we had our favorite sites up there, we reviewed them, and that was basically the start of it.
Okay, so what did you do from day one just to get traffic to the site? I mean, how did you get visitors there from just putting up a forum and Tyson playing poker? You had to, obviously get an audience to show up and participate in that forum. Do you remember how you guys did that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Tyson and I were in the IT department at our company, so we knew about SEO, because to get people to that skincare company website, we knew what was necessary. I think one of the things that was good for us is we would do a lot of the HTML ourselves, just like in Notepad. Mm-hmm. And when you break it down that way, you really see what's important. You see what Google sees. You see that the title tag needs to make sense, the description tag, your H1 tag. You see all that stuff. So we knew how to architect the website so that Google would be able to crawl it well. And we also knew that none of that mattered if we didn't have any links to our website. So, I knew that from my personal sites that I've been working on. So we did whatever we could to get links to our site. And that brought visitors, which brought forum members, and then it just kept growing.
Great. So you're basically focused on SEO initially. Now, you'd mentioned hand coding sites. Is that something you still believe applies today for Google and its algorithm, or is it less prevalent or less important?
I think nowadays there's products like WordPress that are really built well. And I think that might be better for folks now. But back then, I think it was crucial to do some of it by hand.
Okay. And so how do you think SEO has changed since then, other than, that component? I mean, what are you currently doing to stay cutting edge in terms of SEO and keep up with Google's most recent challenging changes?
Well, yeah, now the roles have kind of switched. Like back at the very start, I was doing the webmaster stuff. Tyson was producing the poker content. Now he's doing a lot of SEO. So he could probably better speak to how it is now. But as far as how it was back then, they used to say that content is king and you need to just publish quality content. But now there are so many websites out there that have good quality content that it's a different world,
Sure.
It's it's changed a lot.
It definitely has. So what types of marketing are you currently doing, that you're aware of outside of SEO? Is there anything else, or is it still pretty forum and content driven?
Yeah, it's almost everything we do is SEO, and then there's some word of mouth like from our forums. Mm-hmm. But as far as we've experimented with AdWords here and there, but nothing major outside of just organic results.
Okay. So moving on to kind of, other affiliates in the space, what do you think are the three most common mistakes that affiliates make nowadays? You've been in the industry for 9 years. What would you say some of the newbies are doing wrong?
I think people come in and then they sort of underestimate what it takes to make a cool website. Obviously new affiliates come in all the time and they are successful, so it can be done. But I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of hard work to really make a new website that is valuable and that's cool, that's actually unique. So that'd be mistake number one. Mistake number two, I think, is people build cool websites, but they don't realize how much work it is to get it set up so that people can find the website. Like there's a lot of cool websites out there that you just can't really find in Google, right? So I think people underestimate what they have to do in order to get other sites to link to it, to get it to show up in the SERPs, the Google search engine result pages. They just, that can take a lot of time. So that'd be mistake number two, would be underestimating that. Then the last thing is there's some cool websites that people can find, but that can't really be monetized well. We have some of those. We have other sites besides Flop Turn River. We have some cool sites that offer really nice tools, free tools that we thought we could monetize, and it's just not every tool works the same. It's like a different set of traffic, different group of visitors. And so, not every site can be monetized well.
Can you just give a quick example of a site that maybe you were unable to monetize, what vertical it was in, and why, just if you're willing to share that?
Sure. We videopokertrainer.org is a new site. I think it's an awesome tool because it it shows you how to make good decisions in 5-card draw. Mm-hmm. But we haven't been able to really monetize that yet.
Okay. And why do you think that is? Just the nature of video poker versus traditional Texas Hold'em?
Well, it could be a lot of things. For us, we come from people get confused with video poker because they think it's poker, but it's not. We come from a Texas Hold'em background where it's players against each other. The house takes a rake. Whereas video poker, I consider that to be a casino game,
Yep.
like blackjack, because you're playing against the house. You're not playing against other players. And so for us, I think that's part of the challenge is that our experience is more in the Texas Hold'em poker. So to monetize the casino side, it's a little bit different. So that's part of it. And I mean, if I knew all the answers, it would be monetized.
Sure.
So,
No, it makes sense. Just interesting to get the crossover perspective. So back to the 3 points that you shared in terms of the common mistakes. I mean, what would you tell a new affiliate, just in terms of what would be your one piece of advice to mitigate those 3 areas?
I would say just to, like if you work hard enough and you have a little luck on your side, you'll succeed. But it may not be the first website you try, right? Like maybe you try A, B, C. The difference between a success and a failure is a success. They just keep getting up and keep trying. I think if you just work at it, if you manage your time well, you'll get there eventually.
Okay, great. So you're obviously based in the U.S., and a lot of the traffic that goes to FTR is U.S. Based as well. Although I know there is a good, strong international component that you've been building out. So what are your plans with your existing U.S. traffic? What do you think the future of the U.S. holds, just from a legal standpoint? And then are your plans to get more out of the U.S. or wait until legislation occurs? I know it's a lengthy question, but you can address it one at a time.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess to answer that, I'd have to go back in time a little bit. When the UIGEA came out, we were doing a lot of advertising for party poker back then. A lot of players in the U.S. loved party poker. It was, easy to make money there. So when they left, that was scary for us because it was, that's our biggest they're gone. The company that we were doing the most advertisements for was out of the U.S. market. And like you said, we have a lot of U.S. traffic.
And I'm sorry, when you say most of your revenue, how much of your revenue was coming from party in October of 2006, call it, when they left the market? Just percentage-wise.
I think, I was talking with Tyson before the interview. We don't want to get too much into that part. Can we come back to that part of it?
Sure, of course.
Okay. So, but I will say that, party poker was huge for us back then. So when they left the U.S. market, we started to panic again. We worked hard like in other markets in Europe, Canada. But what happened is that Poker Stars and Full Tilt Poker, they came in and they filled the void. Those 2 websites became very big in the U.S. market pretty quickly. So we were fine. We were able to put up lots of ads for them, and it would people would see their their commercials on TV. Then they would come to our site, see the ads, and go play there. So things turned out to be fine. But what happened last April was different. When Poker Stars and Full Tilt were indicted, that at first we thought, okay, maybe it's like when Party Poker left, maybe other brands will come in and service that market. But that didn't happen. I guess the Department of Justice, they're pretty serious about it. And the U.S. market is just, I was reading in the Wall Street Journal the other day that it's 83% down from what it was before that. And we can see that. I think everyone can see that. I think even the affiliates that don't have ads for U.S. poker operators, they still have ads for like poker coaching or poker videos. And I think it's fair to say that everyone knows that in the U.S. market, it's just not what it used to be since those indictments last April. So as far as what we're trying to do, we need to make money right now as a company. So we're working very hard in Europe and Canada. England is nice because it's regulated over there, so you don't have the gray areas. So we're working hard in those markets. as far as what we're doing in the U.S. market, it sounds good to get ready for when it's regulated and to prepare for that. But from a cash flow standpoint, we can't spend too much time doing that because we really don't know when it will be regulated. It's still, you know what I'm saying? I have no control over that, and I just don't know the timing of it.
Sure. So are there any opportunities in the U.S. today that you're trying to maximize or focus on based on the shifts that have occurred? Or is it more of a salvaging strategy?
I mean, yeah, there's some smaller brands, but also I think being in the U.S., you know, I think we have to be a little more paranoid of the U.S. laws than our competitors. Like if we have competitors in England or somewhere, you know, I think you're going to worry more about the laws where you live, right,
Sure.
where you're a citizen. So I think that puts us at a disadvantage to competitors.
Okay. Now, so moving on just to the global poker market, I mean, I think everybody knows things have slowed down globally in terms of the boom is pretty much over. It can be argued one way or another, but until the U.S. does open up again, poker is likely not going to experience any growth. So how are you mitigating that? Are you looking at other verticals? Are you moving into casino? What's the strategy to diversify out of poker if you feel that's important for the future?
Yeah, we are trying to do more on the casino side, especially with the big brands like in England where it's regulated, like Bet365. We are trying to do more in that space.
Okay. Now, onto the FTR brand, you've done a really good job of, marketing and building that brand in the industry. How did you do that beyond the basic tactics that we talked about? I mean, what would you suggest to anyone who's looking to actually build a brand in the space and not just put up a portal that, on a WordPress site that gets SEO traffic? How do you distinguish yourselves from that type of site?
Well, I think going back in time again, when Tyson and I first started the site, people think a site has to look great to get traffic, and that's not necessarily true. Like when we built it, we were getting visitors, but it looked pretty bad. And so early on, we brought on Tyson's friend John Kwan to help us with the design. And I think when he redesigned the website and made it look really nice, along with just having the cool little forum community, it just at that time, it was just a little niche that just kind of grew because our forums were, I don't know, they're just a little friendlier than some of the other forums, and it just kind of caught on.
You said you grew slowly. Do you think that also played in the component? It doesn't look like you took big risks or radical changes in your strategy. Do you believe in that slow and steady approach towards running a site?
Oh, yeah, I definitely believe in it, especially right now. I think the companies that are highly leveraged right now, when the industry slows down, they can get in trouble really fast if they're in debt. So for us as a company, we've never taken on debt. We've always managed our expenses well. And so, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Maybe we haven't grown as fast as we would have if we would have taken more chances. But times like this, when the market in the U.S. is uncertain, I like not having debt.
Sure. You mentioned one important component to your business is bankroll management. For our users out there that are just entering the poker affiliate space or our casino audience, can you just tell us a little bit about why that's so important for your business and how it relates to the overall picture?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to start out in the beginning doing a lot yourself, just so that you learn it, you know it. Then when you do outsource it, you have an idea if you're getting what you're paying for. So, now we have almost 24 freelancers, but because we started out by doing the work ourselves, we know what our expectations are. And it's easier for us to manage the company that way and to manage the numbers.
So just remaining cash flow positive. When you say bankroll management, it's really about just maintaining reserves in the company and spending wisely and being ROI focused. Is that correct? Not so much like bankroll management for your players.
Oh, yeah. For the company, it's the cash flow. For us, it's important that we watch that closely.
Sure.
And yeah, for us, that's been key.
Okay, great. So, what's the future of FTR? What does it look like?
Well, we're hoping that the U.S. market gets regulated soon. That would be great, not just for FTR, but for the poker world, Until that happens, even after that happens, we're working hard in Europe and Canada to add value to the poker world there. So, for FTR itself, we just want to continue growing. And we want to see, this year we've had a good World Series. One of the players from our community, Max Steinberg, he got a bracelet in one of the events. So
congrats.
Hopefully we can see more of that type of thing.
Nice. That's always a good thing for a community.
Yeah, we just interviewed him. We haven't posted the interview yet, but I was watching it this morning, and it was really cool to me how part of it he said that, he'll come in the forums and beginners will ask questions, and he said that by helping them, it made him a better player. So sometimes when you teach someone something, it makes you stronger too.
Sure. Okay, now on to our most important and final question. So we've seen you guys at the conferences, and we've seen you and Tyson like to party hard and play hard. So how do you strike that balance? I mean, obviously the affiliate lifestyle is one where it's about your freedom, having fun, enjoying, traveling. How do you manage to run the business and still have that flexibility and make sure you guys always have a good time, which it seems to be everywhere you are? So tell our audience who's starting out a little bit about how you manage to make that work.
Well, I think my wife and kids keep me grounded because, I'll start out going to a conference and it's exciting. You're traveling. It's like open bars, free drinks. I enjoy all of that for sure. But then after a few days, I'll start to get homesick. Then after a week, it's like I just want to get home, So I think for me personally, just having the family.
Now Tyson doesn't have that excuse, so I know he's not on our interview. But let's.
Yeah,
he's a colorful character. How does he manage to do it?
I don't know. I can't keep up with that guy. I'll have to actually go into training mode before each trip because he expects me to drink with him, and I don't have the same tolerance. So I'll have to start drinking a little bit before the trip just so I don't get blown away.
Nice.
So I don't know how that guy does it. He's a genius. He can party at night, but then during the day, there's no one smarter than that guy. So I don't know. He's like a freak of nature.
All right. Well, we'll have to bring him on separately one day and get the answers from the horse's mouth. Yeah. Eric, it's been great having you. Thanks a lot for your time and sharing your expertise. If anyone would like to get in touch with Eric, feel free to shoot an email to interviews@casinoaffiliateprograms.com, and we'll be happy to put you in touch. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future interviews with iGaming industry veterans.